My name is Austin. I am the CEO of the Options Auto Trader. We help people actually generate monthly income by automating their option strategy. So if you're someone who has an option strategy or interested in using it to retire, that's who we serve. And 63% of people who use our platform make at least $1,000 in their first month and continue to do that every single month and make even more. We have members actually using this platform to retire, and it's amazing. Now, what just happened is I just recorded a video for my internal team on everything about the platform, so they are platform experts, and I realized, you know what, you guys deserve to see this video too. So I'm going to jump into this video and show you literally the most in-depth video on this platform I've ever done, so I hope you enjoy it. All right, Options Auto Trader team, let me walk you through everything about this platform so that you can help our customers use this and have success with it. Again, that's our number one goal here, is to make sure that everyone who signs up gets fitted with the best bot for them, or able to automate their strategy and actually generate money. That's our goal. Have them to make money in their first 30 days. Again, our current percentage success rate with that is 65%. Super excited, but I want that to be as close to 100% as possible. So anyways, let's walk through how to become a product expert on this. So we're looking at the Options Auto Trader. When we're getting set up, it's super simple. Number one, watch a video on the onboarding process, which is connecting your broker account and then setting up your first paper bot. That's literally all the onboarding process is, because that's all you need to do. And so that process is very simple. How do we connect an account? We click on our profile image, we click on connect your broker, and then again, these are all the brokers that we support. Now here's something you need to know about each broker. tastytrade is our recommended broker. Why? Great executions, great speed, cheap-ish commissions, and their support team's incredible. If you message them, they'll get back to you. But that's not the only reason. Number one is that they support futures options. Not all brokers support futures options through their integration, which means that you can do it on the broker side, but not all platforms can you do it on the automation side by connecting to a platform like ours, and tastytrade allows that. Futures options, obviously, as you guys know here, gives the greatest returns with the least risk, and you can actually do it in an amazing way. And that's what our members who are having the best success, $1,000+ months, are using futures options, and that's what I use, and that's probably what you're using too if you're using this. Anyway, so tastytrade is the platform to do that. That's why it's up here first. But again, we also support Charles Schwab and Thinkorswim. We support Tradier and TradeStation. All these support stock options, index options, ETF options, basically everything but futures options. So that's something to know if someone asks that. The connection process also is super simple and super secure. Again, we go through a security audit process for each broker. They go into our platform. They make sure that we're compliant. They make sure that we have everything security in place. They put their security team in and on everything, and so we pass those audits for all of these brokers, so we definitely are very secure, and I've got that stamp of approval from them. But here is kind of what that process looks like. You just simply click on create connection. For all of these, you get taken over to the broker. You put in your credentials on the broker site, so our system never sees that. And then once you've logged in successfully, it will redirect back to this page, and you will have made that connection successfully. Now, where can we see those connections? Well, right here in the top of the left-hand corner, you'll see a drop-down. You'll be able to see all the broker connections. So if someone's having a hard time locating their broker connections, make sure to see that here, and they can actually do that. So once they've connected an account, they may have multiple accounts with the same broker. Maybe they connected tastytrade and they have maybe like 4 accounts with tastytrade, and so they want to make sure they understand and know which one is each one. Well, if you click on your profile image, you go to profile and you scroll down here, there's a broker connection section. You can just have them go to whatever broker connection they want. Like, let's say my tastytrade account here, and I can just rename it. So I can be like, hey, this is my 401k, 401k for the wife. I don't know, whatever you want it. They can name it whatever broker they want. Also for future reference, if they're trying to disconnect an account, they can also do that here as well. So yeah, broker connections managed in the settings. One more thing I did want to mention about connecting brokers, we also support paper trading. This means this isn't Options Auto Trader paper trading, which means it doesn't matter if their broker supports it or not. We allow it. The only thing here is that a live broker account must be connected for paper trading to work through our system. Why is that? Well, because our paper trading system has to pull the live data to do the paper trades with the correct pricing from somewhere. And so we pull that pricing from a live broker connected. So once you have a live account connected, you can use paper trading, and the paper trading will work correctly as long as that live account is connected. And so again, you can then do that. One more thing I do need to mention about one of the brokers, Charles Schwab and Thinkorswim. On the Charles Schwab side, they require all their clients that are connecting to re-authenticate their account every 7 days. They do this for security reasons. They're probably trying to extend that because, again, 7 days is frequent. But again, so for the members, they'll need a weekly cadence, a weekly rhythm where they re-log in and authenticate their account so that connection stays active so we can manage their trades. We do send an email reminder to them and notifications here 3 days before, 2 days before, 1 day before, day of. So the users will be reminded that they need to reconnect, but just so you know that for your information. Perfect. That's everything to do with broker accounts. Next is creating a bot, okay? So now that we've connected our account, we need a way to create a bot. Now, the way we recommend this for all people starting off in this platform is we say, hey, do it with paper trading first. Why? Because paper trading works exactly the same as a real broker. And I say that because you get to see how it's working, why it works, when it executes, when it does it, and they can see everything before committing live money to it. So again, when they're setting up their first account, best to do this through a paper account. Sweet. Creating an account is creating a bot is quite simple. You click on Create Auto Trader, and there's two options here. Okay, number one is pick an auto trader. Number two is create an auto trader. So if this member just wants best practices, wants to use one of our strategy examples or something like that, wants to use one of the bots that I am using, then they can go pick an auto trader. If this member already has, in keyword, a successful option strategy that's been working for them and is consistent, then you can push them down the route of creating their own auto trader. If they don't have a consistent strategy, then kind of push them, hey, you might want to check out one of our more consistent ones. And this is purely just so that they can have a better result and a better return, right? Because if they are struggling with a strategy now, it's still going to perform the same. It's just going to be automated. But again, the user is still welcome to do whatever they like. This is just kind of the two roads to go down. To explain the pick an auto trader first, let's dive in here. When we're looking at picking an auto trader here, what we look at is there's a few different categories. We have starter bots, the popular bots, retirement income bots, fast income bots, small account bots, and your templates. The 4 best bots, like if we can kind of, we are bound by a lot of financial regulations, as in we cannot tell somebody what they should do with their money. We cannot recommend things, so I cannot say, hey, use this bot. It's kind of against financial regulations here. But I can say, hey, if you're in this general area, this might work best for you. Try it on paper and consult an expert if you want more info. But what we're kind of trying to lean them into is the starter bots right here. The Ready, Steady, Retire, KissBot, Bi-Weekly Rainmaker, Zero DTE, Melondor Trade. Why? The members who use these bots tend to see the highest success and have the greatest success rate in their first 30 days. They tend to make the most money. With the ones being the Ready, Steady, Retire, making the most money, Bi-Weekly Rainmaker, Next, and Zero DTE, Iron Condor, these tend to make the most money and can be changed based on different account sizes, different assets to fit for most people. So those are the 3 most profitable bots. And so again, if someone asks, you can check them out. But again, always push them to be like, hey, these are working right now for our members, but always test it on paper first and do your own research before using it with live money. That's why we always push paper trading, okay? So yeah, perfect. So again, you can see all of these bots here. Again, if you want to see the details on what the strategy is, you can see here what it is: 120 DTE 111, 120 D selling put, selling strangle, Iron Condor. You can see the back test of everything here to kind of go into more detail on everything, see the settings, see how it performs in different markets. If you want to see all the settings without going through it, you can click on here. It'll show you, hey, this is how it places it, what day, what symbol, all that stuff. If someone wants to change that, just tell them, hey, click on start using the bot. And then again, we preload all the settings by default, but if you want to change it or check it, just click go back a few times. You can see what settings are set. You can change them as you wish. So for instance, maybe they want to do it on a different asset. Tell them to click start using the bot, go back a few steps, and change it to whatever symbol you want to do it on. Now, that's kind of how we run these bots, okay? So these bots are here. They're the popular bots, retirement income bots, fast income bots, smart account. Your templates, these are for if they shared them with members or copied one from someone, these are where those bots would be. And so that's all there. Remember, we always push to paper trading. We do not tell them what to do. We showcase what our members are currently doing, and that's all we can do. But this is the strategy database. Pretty simple, though. Perfect. Next, let's go into the second option, which is create an auto trader. So right here, this blue button. Now remember, we can't tell them what to do with their money. We can say, do you have a strategy that's working? Okay. Do you want help automating it? Okay. So we can help them do what they've already committed in their mind to do, but we can't really change their mind or convince them, right? And so if they're like, okay, you have a strategy, cool, let me help you automate it. We can go through the process together. That's this process, creating an auto trader. Okay, so here we go. These are all the strategies, the most popular ones: naked put, naked calls, credit spreads, debit spreads, iron condors, iron butterflies, butterfly spreads, ratio spreads, strangle straddles, 111, 112, 112, 22. Did I say it too many times? Okay. And then if you just want to build it from scratch, so like a calendar trade or literally just something custom, you can click here and you can pick as many trade legs as you want. For most members, they'll just be like, hey, I do a credit spread, I do a debit spread, I do a vertical, whatever it is. It'll just be here and we'll be like, okay, cool. Let's click on that strategy. Next, be like, okay, what asset are you currently trading on is what you'll ask them, or you can just, basically you can set any symbol here. One thing I do want to talk about is futures here. Futures symbols will only show up if they have a tastytrade account connected. Why? Because tastytrade is the only platform that supports futures options. So if they want to use futures options, they have to have an account connected that supports that. So futures will only show up if they have a tastytrade account connected. So yeah, that's something you need to be aware of. DTE, how far out in the future do they want to trade? Ideally, if they're already trading a strategy, they know what they target. You can change the put or call. You can change delta or quantity. Now, there's a lot of different settings on how we can pick this, okay? Delta is kind of an expected range type of measurement, and they can target delta. That's a very common way. They can also target amount out of the money. This means, let's say I want to go $5 away from where the stock is currently trading, out of the money. You can do that, $10, $25, whatever it is you want. You basically, the current price, go away from it. So if it's a put, you're going down. If it's a call, you're going up. Percentage out of the money, same thing, but instead of a dollar amount, you're going a percentage below the current stock price, or above if it's a call. You have amount in the money, so this is the same thing, a dollar amount, but in the money. So again, if you're doing puts, you're going up. If you're doing calls, you're going down. Strike offset, this only shows up when it's the second one or third or fourth, but not the first one. Strike offset refers to, hey, wherever this one is at, go X amount further away. Okay, so let's say that it's a credit spread and they want it to be $10 wide, right? They want to pick one strike and they want to go $10 away from that other one. They would pick strike offset and they would say, hey, I want to go $10 away. Perfect. So now whatever it picks here, it'll take this price and it'll go $10 away. So for a put, we'll go $10 lower. For a call, it'll go $10 higher. So that's how that does it. Next is target price. Let's say they want to target a certain option price, or maybe like, hey, I always sell an option that's worth about $5. Okay, cool. I can put $5 here, and it's going to find the option that's priced closest to $5. It's just like that. So those are the different ways that you can select strike prices. After that, you go into the entry settings. So now that you've kind of created the trade, what the strategy is, what the symbol, asset, all that stuff. Next, we define how often we want to enter that trade. And so when we do this, what we're doing is basically a frequency. Once a week, multiple times a day, multiple times a week, every other week, or once a month. So that's how we can define how often we enter the trade. Let's just say once a week for this example. If they pick multiple times a day, they can pick certain times and they can add, this hasn't been filled yet, you can see here. They can add as many times as they want to this, so if they're doing, hey, I want to enter at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. Okay, cool. Multiple times a day, 11, what are the dates? I forget. The 9, 11, 1, whatever times I said, can be done like that. We'll just do once a week. It's quite normal for members to do once a week or multiple times a week. Those are the most common ones. If you're doing once a week, you can pick a certain day. So for instance, Wednesday. If they're asking if there's a preference over which day you enter, tell them they can run a back test on that, but we haven't really seen any significant changes especially if you're doing a long-term strategy based on a certain day of entry. It's not going to make a huge difference. The biggest difference comes from the volatility on the day that you entered, but we'll get into that in a second. So once a week, if they're doing it multiple times a week because they have a larger account, they just pick the days. So let's say I want to do Tuesday and Thursday, they can do that. Next is the session. So again, we have the morning session, the lunch session, the afternoon session. The specific times for this can be found on the help desk side. It shows you what times. I believe this is 8:30 to about 11, and then 11 to 1. Again, these are on CST times right now. And then afternoon is about 1 to 3. Pick specific times. So if they want to, hey, I want to do it at this specific time. I want to enter at 9:35. They can pick that. Now again, by default, this platform does an EST, because that's what the market time is, the New York Stock Exchange. If they want to switch this to, again, it's all in their profile settings. So again, profile under software settings, they can change it to their time zone so that it kind of best fits and is less confusing to them. They do that as well. Also, while I'm here, I also mentioned privacy mode. If someone doesn't want their account number showing, like they want to see stars instead in case they're sharing their screen or screenshots or something and they're concerned about that, they can set up, they can enable the privacy mode. Okay, let's go back. I have to start from the process again. Create an auto trader. Credit spreads, I'll just let it be default. By default, though, just so you know, we do plug in the best practices for them. So in general, this trade tends to have a high success rate when you use these numbers. And so when they click on that strategy, we preload the best numbers for them. Okay, next. Entry, perfect. Next, there's advanced entry settings. 90% of people will not use this. I don't use this, so just keep that in mind. But for those who do, you need to be aware of this. Red days only, okay? This means, do you want to enter when the market is red? What is red? Okay, red is meaning that wherever the market or wherever that stock opened, it's currently lower than where it opened. Okay, so the best practice for this, if it's enabled, because you want to only enter on red days, is to enable this and to make sure entry times is in the afternoon session. Why is this? Well, because then that means we're looking at the time in the latter half of the day. So we're looking, okay, almost the end of the market close. Now is the stock currently below where it opened, right? If we have this set to morning session, where the market moves a lot when it first opens, it could be down slightly and be classified as a red day because it's lower than where it opened, and it won't really be a red day. The day could end up positive, it could end up negative, we don't know. So if you're doing a red day only, it's best practice to do the afternoon session. But again, red day only will only enter when there's a red day. This will avoid the certain days. Why? Because it's very unlikely that we'll have a Monday red day. And so that trade will almost never enter. So it ignores this, but it does do this. So once a week, it will enter the trade when it's a red day. If there's no red days that week, it won't enter. Next is avoid entry on FOMC days. This particularly pertains to 0DTE traders because there's a lot of volatility on FOMC days. And so in order to avoid that and to thus increase their win rates, they can avoid FOMC days. So this means on those days it will not enter. These are just some minimal criteria. You have VIX min and VIX maximum. This is very simple. Basically what we're looking at here is volatility index, okay? If the volatility index is above a certain number, we can do the minimum. If we want it below a certain number, we can do that. We can set one or the other. We can set both, whatever it is. Why would you use this is the question. Again, there's a lot of different strategies in the options trading space, as you probably know by now. Some debit trades do better when the volatility is lower. Some credit trades do better when the volatility is higher. So let's say we're buying options as a hedge. Well, typically you only want to buy options when volatility is low. So you could go right here and set a maximum of 15. So if VIX, if the volatility is between 0 to 15, aka a low volatility environment, then we can do debit trades, right? Or you can do vice versa, 15 here. That means if VIX is $15 or higher, then we'll do credit trades or something like that. Again, most people won't do this, but if you want to segment your strategies based on volatility, you can do that, and that's a setting there. Minimum credit per trade, maximum credit, the same thing. You can set one or the other or both. Let's say, okay, I'm doing an iron condor, and I want to make sure that I collect at least $1 in credit. So you can either put $1 here to ensure the minimum, or maybe you're just like, okay, I want to do between 95 cents and $1.10. So that means, hey, let's make sure that this iron condor I'm putting on is around $1. You can set that up like that. You can also do minimum profit per trade. So let's say, hey, I want to make sure I'm making at least $100 per trade. This is good if you're trying to make sure your risk to reward is in balance. Because again, options, the pricing and the profit per trade really depends on volatility. Sometimes you might not want to enter the trade if there's not enough profit. So you can define that right here. Last but not least is the enable webhook for this auto trader. This is for advanced traders who want to connect to a third-party system. This is all going to be under our webhook API system, which I'll go through later on in this call, but there's more info for it. If you go to search for help, you click on this, it'll show all the different categories of support we have, and one of them is a webhook API section, and we go through all of that there. But basically, this is connecting to a third party like TradingView, TrendSpider, Zapier, something like that, so that they can trigger an entry or exit based on an indicator, based on a trend line, based on something else like that. Or maybe they're custom coding. You'll want that as well. Perfect. Like I said, 90% of people won't use this, but it's good to be aware of it for those doing more advanced strategies. Step number 5, set exit conditions. Okay, so for this, again, by default, these are the 3 most used ones. These are all the ones that I use. I never go into advanced, but again, I will show you that here in a second. Take profit percentage. You set the number, so let's say 25%. If that's set, that means the trade will close when there's a 25% take profit. Once you've had a 25% profit in that trade, will close the trade. Stop loss percentage, same thing, 100% will close the trade once the trade is doubled. Early management in days. This refers to the DTE, okay? So if we put in 21 here, stop loss, we put in 21 in early management, that means that whenever the trade is at 21 days until it expires or less, so 21 or less, it will close the trade. What does this mean? Okay, let's say we get in a trade where we're 45 days out in the future. The trade has 45 days until it closes, okay? If that's true, that means we'll hold on to the trade for about 45 minus 21, 24. Sure. 24 days. And then that means when we hit 21 days until that option expires or less, it will close the trade. One of the biggest issues is that zero DTE traders put 0 here, and then the trade immediately closes. So make sure you check this if it's a zero DTE trade and they're like, it immediately closed. I don't know why. Because you put 0 here. It means that you opened up a 0 DTE trade and then you told it to close it when there's 0 days left, which is the trade. So it overlaps it and immediately closes it. It opens it and then closes it. You'll see it be open for 0 minutes or 1 minute. Okay, so make sure you check that. Next, we have our advanced things. If we click advanced, we can do a lot of different take profit. Take profit based on profit amount. So based on, hey, if I make $100, close the trade. Trade price, hey, if the trade gets to an X dollar amount, close it. After this take profit is hit, you can actually convert it into a trailing stop so that, hey, I hit a 30%. Now I'm going to have a small trailing stop to follow the price up in case it goes higher. You can do that. Stop loss rule, stop loss percentage, trailing percentage if you just want to follow the price up so that you can slowly move up and lock in profits if it turns against you after you've already made a profit. Loss amount, trade price, pretty straightforward. Early management, like I mentioned, is when you want to close it based on a DTE. And then exit times. Early management is required if you're doing an exit time. So for instance, let's say I want to close on the last day, 0 DTE, but I want to close it at 2:45 p.m. You can do that, okay? So if a zero DTE trader is trying to close out the trade early, they can do something like this. But if this isn't set, and it's just 0, then that's when they run into an issue, and that's kind of common, sadly. Yeah, so I'll make a prompt in the software soon that kind of prompts them, hey, this might cause an issue, but right now that's just something to be aware of. Other management rules here, mid price and guaranteed price, these are 2 different things. So when we're looking at an option, there's a lot of different contracts that make up one trade. For instance, in Iron Condor, is 4 different trade legs. And so there's a lot of options, and so pricing can vary. But we look at the mid price to calculate the profit and everything. And so if the mid price hits one of their stop loss or take profit rules, then we'll close the trade. But that doesn't mean we'll necessarily close the trade at that price because there might be some fluctuation with all the contracts. It's typically on point, but if you're trading something that has less volume or less volatility that day, not less volume and less just less open interest that day or on that contract, it may not be at the exact price they want. And so you can do a guaranteed price that looks at the bid or ask price before it exits. So it'll take longer to close, and you might see it go over your take profit if you're watching the trade, but it's just waiting so that it can guarantee that exit price. Most 99% of people should only use mid price. It defaults to that. Don't recommend it or change it unless they're looking for something like that. Managed trades. If your short strike gets hit, again, that means your trade's not in the money, and there's some assignment risk when your trade enters the money, and so you can have it manage it in a certain way. Whether you close the position or close a part of the position, you can do that. And then again, by default, we don't allow trades to expire in the money 30 minutes before a contract will expire. So 30 minutes before the close on the last day, we close out all contracts if they're in the money, because we don't want that assignment risk. If they want assignment risk, if they're doing a wheel strategy where they're okay with being assigned or something similar, they can say yes, allow the trades to expire in the money, and we won't stop that, or we won't exit. Perfect. Those are all the rules. Also, you can see here there's a prompt. If I do not put a stop loss here, it will say, hey, you don't have a stop loss. Are you sure? And they can just click save and continue to continue. But it's just a prompt to make sure they know that, because we want to make sure that they're risk, right? Part of this is helping them make money with this system, but also controlling risk, right? If we can control risk, they can be profitable in the long run, right? No matter what strategy you're doing, if you can control risk, they'll be successful most likely, or they have a high chance of being successful. And so controlling risk is a big part, and that's where we get into the next step, which is set account safeguards. So buying power allocation. This is the amount of money the bot can use to trade with, okay? This is the amount across all the trades combined, okay? So some people may say, Austin, I put $5,000 as the limit here, but it only costs $500 to take this trade. Does that mean every single time it's going to enter about 10 trades, right? It's going to try to hit the 5,000 price? No. The quantity of the position is defined on the very first page. Right here, the quantity. You're only entering one each time, okay? So if they want to up the quantity, they want to trade more, they change the quantity here. All the buying power allocation is doing is says, hey, we will follow your rules and keep on placing trades every week or however often you defined. But once all your open trades have hit a buying power amount of this, then we're going to stop putting on trades, okay? Now, there is a minimum required, which is for this trade is 500. Why is this? Well, because we make sure that they put at least enough money to enter one trade, right? So $500 is the minimum to put on one trade here. Again, this may not be 100% accurate because, again, we're estimating it. We don't know the real numbers until we have a live broker connected and doing a live trade to see what the actual buying power is at that time. It's a very close approximation, but it may be slightly off. But again, you need to at least have enough money for that bot to place one trade. And then again, you can always do more than that, and it'll keep putting on trades until you hit that limit. There's other account safeguards here as well. VIX-based buying power. If you enable this, depending on where VIX is, it will actually kind of change your buying power amount. So we can see here, if VIX is high, which is good for us as option sellers, it'll use the whole $5,000 amount. If VIX is lower, between 0 to 15, you can see here we'll only use half of the amount. So this is a great way to reduce risk. If you're looking for someone who's kind of looking for a slow, consistent strategy, retirement income type thing, which is most of our people are here for, then, or just something that running in the background, passive, don't want to worry about it, VIX-based buying power is something that they want to have enabled because it's going to scale their position sizing based on the risk in the market. When VIX is low, as option sellers, we have more risk. And so we want to make sure we're in less positions and ready to capitalize when volatility spikes. And this does this for us automatically. You can read more by clicking here. It takes you to a specific help desk article where that's done. Cool. We have the market crash safeguard. This is a math-based rule of when it's time to exit a trade. Again, this is very great if someone's trying to look for consistent income, set it and forget it. Don't want to worry about it. Make sure they have this enabled and explain it to them, which is basically like, hey, if the market gets to a 3 standard deviation level, which is a math level that says the market is overextended, the market is too high, there's a very high chance of it coming back down. And so if we have this enabled, we'll start to get out of positions before the market crashes or has a strong pullback. This is not 100%. It's not work 100% of the time. About 80 to 90% of the time, it will get you out before I crash, before I pull back. So that's great. We get to cut out 80 to 90% of the risk, but it's not 100%. So that's something they need to know about. Perfect. You can also see the last time it was triggered, and you can look at that as well. Require email trade approval. Only 5% of our users use this. This is like, hey, all my rules have been met, but I still want to get an email to approve that trade going through. So if this happens, all the rules are met, we send them an email, and that email they can click, I approve the trade or I don't, and that will let the trade go through or not. So you can enable that. And then max positions at once. Let's say they only want to have 2 trades on at a time. They can put 2 here, and that means we'll stop entering trades at that 2 mark. Perfect. This max buying power is also, max positions is also kind of related to this, because if you only put enough money in for the bot for 2 trades to be on, so if let's say like this, it takes $500 and I put 1,000, well then it's going to naturally stop at 2 trades anyways. So that's also another way to kind of restrict that. Perfect. All right, we have the approximate auto trader metrics here. Again, these, like it says here, are approximate, and this is per trade. So for every 1 trade you put on, it's going to take about $500 of buying power. You'll make about $375, and you'll risk about $375. Not perfect, not accurate, because we don't have live data for this trade yet. Once you have live trades on, you'll see the accurate real numbers. But these are approximations based on your take profit rules, your stop loss rules, and things like that. Perfect. It also explains all the settings that you set so that they can understand it, make sure they understand it, and if they do, click I authorize and save auto trader. Just like that. That's how you create an auto trader. Super simple. Once we have an auto trader, they will display here. Once you have more 3 auto traders or more, these will go away, but until they have 3, we're still trying to encourage them to create one, to watch the masterclass to get started, or to schedule an onboarding call with our team so we can help them get set up. Again, although that doesn't go away until 3, we're not really trying to get them to 3 bots. We're just trying to get them to 1 good bot, okay? If they can have 1 good bot, they can potentially change their future, right? I really only run off 2 bots, the Ready, Steady, Retire, and that's the Strangle strategy. I run those 2. They make me good money every month. And hopefully you're running them too. But you only need 1 really good bot to get started. Once your account size surpasses 100,000 or more, then we can talk about diversifying and using different bots for that reason. But for most people, just 1 good bot. And so the way we encourage them to do that is, like I said, start on paper, pick all our starter bots, use all the starter bots and paper trade them. Find which one that works the best or you like the best, move that to a live account, and then you can start rolling with it. So that's kind of the process. Now, if we want to learn more about the bot, we can see here what our net liquidity is for the accounts. These, again, are our account numbers for the overall broker for this account that we're looking at right here for this account. Buying power that's being used, profit and loss year to date, profit and loss open. Perfect. We can see all these numbers here. And yeah, we'll dive in further. If the power button's green, that means the auto trader is on. That means that it's actively entering trades for you based on your rules. If it's red, that means that it's no longer entering trades, but it is going to manage the trades that it's tracking. Okay, so red means it's not entering, but it's managing. Perfect. You go into an auto trader by either clicking auto trader or by clicking the title here. So we'll click on the title and go into it. And this shows us all the details about this trade. Profit and loss graph, profit and loss open, P&L use, win rate, expectancy, all this stuff. Great stuff here. Perfect. It shows us our open trades, our closed trades, if there's any pending trades. Something that you do want to know here is that if a trade has closed and they're trying to figure out why or something went wrong, these 3 lines will tell you the exit reason, take profit. So whatever reason is here, early management, strike hit, take profit, stop loss, whatever it is, and they didn't want that to happen, they can look at the exit reason and then go into their settings and look, okay, what was the setting I had for that? Was that correct? And so that's one way to diagnose some issues. But you can see all the trades here, everything that's going on. You can click on the 3 dots to see all the trades that are open, take any trade notes, and then again, you can also ignore from automation. So let's say this bot is set up to close trades at 200%, but I want to manage it myself, but I still want to see it being tracked here. I just turn this to true and I save it. And this means that we'll ignore it. We'll still track and update all the pricing, but we won't follow the rules to close it. We'll just let that trade exist there so you can manage it yourself. There's a red button here to close trades. So there's two options here. You can either close the entire trade. This will close it all. And then you also have the option to close only certain positions. So let's say there's multiple legs in the position. It's an iron condor. It's the strangle like this. I see, wow, okay, made a profit on the put side. I'm just going to close the put side, let the call reset to a profit, and then close it there. You can do that. Defeats the point of manual, but it can be done. Now, something that's also to be known is that once a broker connection has happened in this platform, it's a two-way sync, which means that if we're tracking a trade of theirs and they close it in their platform, it will then be closed on our side, okay? We will update the pricing for what they closed it and everything, but if we're tracking a trade and they close it on the broker, we will close it here. If we're not tracking the trade, we won't do anything because we're not tracking it. We don't care. All their orders are fine and managed by the broker. Okay, so that's one thing to know. Now we have 3 tabs here that shows the trade. Number 2 is transparency. This is how we diagnose most issues of why a auto trader is not executing. You can look here. Again, all my auto traders have passed for this one, but it shows, hey, the entry rules passed. That means the rules that you set to enter a trade, the frequency, the time of day, all that stuff is passed. We were able to create an order, aka we're locate the deltas, locate the strike prices they wanted based on their entry rules. We submitted a fake preview order to your broker to make sure your account can handle this order. We've made sure it passed the buying power requirements. We execute a live trade, and then we check that live trade has been filled. And so this is the process of which all auto traders go through, and you can track that. If it stops here and shows a red X, that means it failed, and it'll show you the reason why it failed, and therefore you can use that reason to go in and diagnose the problems. There's also a trade log. This is pulled directly from their broker. So this is real data. So if they want to check, okay, did this trade actually go through, at what price? Again, the options auto trader pulls this all. It's completely accurate. But if they want to see it from their broker without logging into the broker, they can do that here, and they see all the broker orders. So they may even see trades that aren't related to this, but it's because it's all the trades pulled from the broker. I forgot one thing. They can also export this data. Basically, it's just a way nicer way to export broker data. If you go to a broker and you export your data, it looks terrible. It's hard to organize, but if you export it here, we make it look super clean. Sweet. There's also some settings up here. The gear icon, this controls all the auto trader settings. So the strategy details, the entry rules, the management rules, the account safeguards. We can turn the trader off and on. We can rename the auto trader here. Save and close, we can delete the auto trader. This will delete all the trading history. This will delete the auto trader. This will delete everything. So be careful before you do that. And there's also a trade preview here, which is cool. So if they're trying to make sure that they set this up correctly and it picks the strikes they want, they can click on generate trade preview. Give it a little bit, depending on the broker. It takes a certain amount of time. Some are faster than others. But you can see here we're now locating the strikes and orders and all that stuff, and so they can check, okay, did the way that I structured this trade actually turn out to be the way that I wanted? Okay, so do I want to sell to open this on the April 17th and this is the trade price, this is what I was looking for, and they can check with the broker. Most of the times it is, but that's how they can see a preview order without actually submitting an order. Okay, perfect. Next, they have the share icon. This is for both sharing and duplicating. So for instance, like I mentioned, we recommend that people do a paper account, use all the starter bots, and then find their favorite one and move it to a live account. Well, let's say they're ready to move it to a live account. How do they do that? Well, they click on the share icon, they click on duplicate this auto trader, and they just move it to a live account. So let's say, hey, I want to move it to this live account. I click duplicate, and it'll move that auto trader, or I should say recreate it, all the same rules inside the other account. There's also sharing with friends and family. So if you click share auto trader and you want to share it with a friend or family, it gives you a link to share it with them. So they can then import it into their account. Now, where do they access it once they've shared it and someone's copied it? Well, like I mentioned before, create auto trader, pick an auto trader, and go to your templates. So this is where it'll show up if you copied from somewhere else. Cool. That is how you look at the auto traders. Oh, I forgot the plus button. This green plus button appears both on the dashboard and inside the auto trader page. This green is if you want to manually place a trade now, you can click this and we'll execute a trade now. If it is, let's say you want to import a trade you currently have, this is for members who are just getting started and they have trades they want us to manage, or they're a type of trader who I want to nail down the entry, I want to enter the trade myself on the broker, but then I want you to manage the exits. Perfect. They enter on their broker, they come in here, they click import a trade. I have no trades to import because all mine are being tracked right now. It'll show the trades and they can just click on the ones they want to import, click add, and it will be added to that auto trader to be managed there. Perfect. Yep, all that's there. Super simple. Education, pretty straightforward. We have a lot of different courses. The Options Auto Trader Masterclass shows them how to get started here, how to retire using options bots, how to cut your trading taxes in half, Generational Wealth Masterclass, and the Futures Options Crash Course. All this stuff here, it's a great way to do it. If they want some more content, they can also check out our YouTube channel. If they want software specific knowledge, they can go to the chat platform. There's over 100 different resources here. Make sure they're aware of it. They can also search here because, again, this thing reads all our articles and gives them the best responses. So if they message, our AI knows everything about the platform and it can respond to them before we can, which is awesome. And so they get a faster response, and then we can follow up with a personal touch if they're still confused or they want more help. That's kind of how that chat platform works. Perfect. That is that's everything inside the Options Auto Trader platform. Again, I'm sure you'll have more questions. If you do, reach out, but this should cover almost everything inside the platform. Again, I'm excited that you guys are a part of this team. I'm really excited that we're here to help people. Again, that's the goal. Remember, our goal is here, help people make money consistently and reliably without the stress and without high risk, okay? So we're making sure they're set up with the best strategies, make sure they do it on paper trading so they don't risk money, and then they start moving on from there. All right, guys, welcome to the team. My name is Austin. Let's help these people, and I'm super excited you're here.